All right, we are on Six Plus streaming right now. We still don't have a name for this. I want to do a thing where I just check in with community people, whether it be officials, legislative members, but just checking in. We thought of some ideas as community conversation with Six News. My old boss had a thing called Mic Checks with Micah, which I kind of like. I don't really know, but we do have District 55 Representative-elect Hillary Hickland. It'll become official very soon, but thank you so much for joining us here on Six Plus.
It's my pleasure, and I love the idea of just being so accessible to the public and the effort that you're going to. That's one of the really unique things about local news is that you can engage with the specifics in the community that you just can't get statewide or national. So good job. I love this idea.
We appreciate you for coming, and that's something that we want to do here on Six Plus is allow longer than the minute 30-second story that you see. Because sometimes, I mean, we had a conversation before, and it's hard to cram it in. I know when we did our live interview, it was hard to cram in that thing because I'm like, okay, I want to ask this, I want to ask that, and you have stuff to say. It's like they're in my ear tone, rap, rap, rap. With here, we have a longer time. So, um, newly elected won the election in November against Jennifer Lee, and now you're about to go to start the legislative session on the 14th, and you're going to be sworn in on January 14th as well.
That's right. Yeah, the ceremony starts at 12. It's open to the public, so I encourage anybody in the district to come. You can live stream it if you want, just from your home on the computer. But we'll be excited to host anybody that's there to stop by our office. And we also have a district office that we're getting up and running, so we'll have some good things to announce soon.
Perfect. And so let's get started with the big talkers. I never want to waste anyone's time, but I know there are two bills that we mentioned on our newscast and online. The first one we talked about yesterday, which I actually have to look at it, but it's talking about some stuff for schooling. It says, I'll read the headline from our website. Texas State Representative-elect files bill to bring, quote, greater transparency to school safety protocol. So if you can tell us a brief summary of the bill in 15 seconds or less, and to tell us why you filed it and you know how you think it's going to help out Central Texans and Texans all around.
Parents just want to know that their kids have a safe place to learn. I think everybody does. That is a baseline desire and for our schools. And so all this bill does is notify parents of any employee that's been charged with a crime that would require a certain level of crime. So not every crime, but those serious offenses that a parent would want to know. This will help parents feel confident that their kids are safe at school, and if anything's going on, the school will let them know. So, I mean, that's what parents want. They want their kids to be safe at school, and this will help in enhance the parents' confidence in that.
And I mean, personally, we know that I might get the number wrong, Obama 3 or 4.
Four, yeah.
4. I was close. I was close. I knew it was around that range. But I mean, you're a parent, so I mean, a lot of the bills that we've seen you filed center around this. What are some of the things that I guess would have to be charged with? Is it like sexual? Is it like robbery? Like
So
that?
that well, it's a more it's the higher class of those offenses. It's those that would require somebody to be put on a sex offender list, or so it's the things that a parent would want to know if an employee has been charged with that class of crime. So and yeah, that's what I hear for sure. Like as a mom of school age kids, that's the easy bend of things that I am most familiar with just on a personal level. But I've filed over 15 bills. That we filed another one a couple days ago that are to enhance the rights of property owners. So these are just the bills that seem to be getting a lot of attention, which is fine. I'm happy to talk about any of the legislation that I've filed. I'm really proud of the team that we have that we put together and the work that we've done. Even before being sworn in, we have met with lots of local entities, law enforcement, public school administrators, and school boards cities, counties, lots of constituents, and a lot of those meetings would result in legislation. And so for people watching, it's hard to pass bills, to pass laws in Texas. And you know what? It should be. We shouldn't be just passing laws willy-nilly. So I kind of like that it is a process that results in a lot of refinement. And so as we get started, the bill could be amended by various groups or interests and hopefully made better or fall apart. And it's a long process that starts very slowly, but then ramps up quickly because we have a truncated session that's essentially from January to June, assuming that we don't have any special sessions. But just wanted to have things in place to hit the ground running because as someone that's just coming in, a newbie, I don't want my district to suffer because um, I'm new at this. So we worked very hard to meet with local interests, local constituents, and hear them. We followed the issues that voters care about, and we really put things in motion. So we'll be ready to go. You're muted, Micah.
Oh my gosh, we've been doing this since 2020 and I still mess up. Okay. That's something that whenever you were campaigning that you said that you did, you met with groups. So that's something that you plan on doing as you continue in this new role of actually an elected official?
Absolutely. I want to be accessible. Anyone can reach out, whether it's through email or calling our district office or calling the Capitol office. We want to be very accessible and responsive. That's what a representative is supposed to do, to represent the voice of the people. And I'm so honored to have been entrusted with that role. And I'm really looking forward to it. Really excited. So absolutely, if there's issues in our district, I definitely want to know about it.
And now I want to talk about a bill. Again, these are the two that I know for sure that we've covered. Again, you filed more than 15 bills, but this one, it has some attention. We talked about it through text, but new bill that would ban sex toys from major retailers in Texas, and that includes Walmart, CVS, I believe Target, and things like that. Can you tell us what is the bill out of your words, why you filed it, and that sort of thing?
The aim of this legislation is to protect kids, plain and simple. That is something that the government has a vested interest in, protecting our children. I didn't make this up out of nowhere. It was actually some city councilmen that came to me and said, we need help. We have in our brick and mortar stores, many people don't know and are actually surprised and very disturbed that these types of devices are being sold in our brick and mortar stores right here in our community, sharing shelf space with common items like band-aids and toothbrushes. And protecting the innocence of our children is a worthy cause. So there's nothing, these items are not banned. Anyone can still access them online, or we have established sexually oriented businesses, and these devices are defined in the code as obscene devices. So these businesses have to jump through hoops to with planning and zoning, where they can open, also who can enter their stores. It's a lot like liquor stores. You can't buy certain types of alcohol at Walmart. And then those stores require no one can enter that's under the age of 18 unless they're with a parent. So it's similar protections for children or for minors with these types of products. So why would we make these businesses jump through all these hoops if you can find them at every general store in our community? And that really is the case. In our local, I even walked into CVS and saw them at eye level of a child right next to the Band-Aids. So I think that parents don't consent to exposing their children for that when they go shopping. We don't know that we can walk down an aisle and there it's obvious. So it's one of those things that really alarming for a lot of people. And maybe they would say that this doesn't exist or it's not a real problem. But when my community came to me and said, you know what, we know that you're someone that's passionate about protecting our children, it's definitely an effort that I'm willing to step into, and I will always fight to protect our kids.
And not to put myself in the story, but I want this to be like more of a conversation than maybe we would on TV. But no, I mean in the newsroom, obviously we have thoughts and opinions. We're never going to share them publicly. I'm not going to share them on these platforms or anything. But we were like, do they actually sell that stuff? And then someone's like, yeah, they do. And then it's ironic. I was about to use the word funny, but that's not the correct word. But it's ironic that I was shopping for I was telling you off camera that my mom was coming to visit for the holidays, my parents. I was shopping for the diffuser or something. I don't know, she likes open up her nasal, whatever. But I seen that at one of the stores. I'm in Belton, and I seen that I was like, oh. So I personally didn't know about that until we talked about this build. I was like, oh, well, there it is. I had no idea. So that was interesting for me to see. So what are some other bills that you have laid out? I know you have more than 15, but what are some other ones that you think are something that really hit home for Central Texans that people should know about?
Well, of course, we know that property taxes are so burdensome. That's one of the issues that we just consistently hear about. And so we're looking at ways to kind of rein in some of that budget spending, both from the state and local governments. We've got to work together to bring relief to taxpayers. I told you I just filed a bill that would increase the rights of property owners. I filed another bill for election integrity, another bill that will quantify the burden that Texas has been carrying to educate and treat non-citizens in our schools and our hospitals. That is not to say that we won't continue to treat them and educate them. Absolutely, it doesn't. It doesn't serve anyone to not educate and serve those who are in need. So I'm glad I get the opportunity to be clear about that. What we're asking for is to quantify it so that we can appeal to the federal government for help. You know, this is a burden that as a border state, we are carrying a heavy burden and we're going to need some help with that. And that it's the federal government's job for those international relations. So that's one of the bills that we filed, and our hospitals and schools are grateful because if you think about it, it's been something that they've had to carry, and of course they're there to serve and to educate, but it is an increased uh, burden on our state. And so that's one of the ones that I've filed. We're going to be looking at, of course, education, uh, energy, and water or infrastructure. They're not the kind of headliners that people like to talk about, or maybe they don't get people out to vote, but they are very crucial, especially when we talk about the future of our state and the prosperity of our region. So that's something that I will be closely involved in. Yeah, it's not like a headliner. People probably aren't going to be like excited to talk about this, except our counties and our cities are coming together to collaborate and establish a Central Texas Water Alliance. So that's going to go towards solving some of our pending water crisis that we're looking at, especially with the growth in our state. So, you know, it's always helpful to be coming out of an election and hear what the voters care about, because those are essentially our marching orders, and those are the things that I'm moving forward with and working on.
And real quick, I have two questions. The first one is just simple, it's for my research purposes. So, say if we put this on air, we write a web article. Do you know the name and number of the bill that you talked about with the immigration and education, real quick?
Oh gosh, yeah, I have to pause. I have
And if not,
two bills because I separated. They're separated because of the one with the hospitals and healthcare costs. That Governor Abbott issued a an executive order.
it
So
started
this
in
just
November.
codifies what already exists. They're already doing it. This is just to help the state legislature know and quantify so that then we can petition for assistance. Um, oh, here we go. 1314 is the one for healthcare facilities. And oh, the one, sorry, it's here on my list.
And then you're good.
Oh, it's
And
1512. 1512 is the one for the
15.
schools. Um, yeah, but we've got, I talked to our local law enforcement. They were very concerned about the increase in juvenile crime. I was very surprised to hear that 70% of our local crime is committed by juveniles, and that there are some things that have really tied their hands, specifically the curfew that was repealed, I believe, last session, and it kind of removed a tool that they had when they encounter a juvenile. And this is actually happening, 13-year-olds on the street at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Whereas before they could engage with that juvenile and contact the parents because of the curfew, and now they can't. So that is a tool that I filed to reinstate the curfew, allowing municipalities to implement it if they want to. If there's a town that's not really seeing that issue, no problem. This is not a mandate. It's just possible for municipalities to put that in place. And my cities and local law enforcement are really grateful for that.
And then I want to ask, talk about water and infrastructure. I mean, as a news anchor here in Central Texas, with it, you learn so much about a community in a short time because you talk about it, you learn about it. Are you working for, we're for the people, are you working with other lawmakers and Central Texas lawmakers to make this happen? Because I know I spoke with Pat Curry, who took over for Doc Anderson over there in McLennan County in District 56. And I spoke with Brad Buckley in 54, which also covers Bell County. News talk about Kipner and how we want to fix water there and stuff. And he talked about Bell County. I know Curry's talking about Valley Mills. Is this something that you're seeing that a lot of Central Texas lawmakers want to work on and you're working with them to pass things like this?
Yeah, well, it's one of the things that we're working on, at least, and it's amazing to have a collaborative effort so that we can come together, because Texas is so diverse. When you think especially about the needs, even specifically about water, the water needs in West Texas are drastically different than East Texas. So the idea of collaborating on a regional basis, mitigating the needs, sharing the resources. We have, I believe it was at least 20 local water agencies that are coming together to establish this alliance. And yeah, I've spoken with Senator Flores and Chairman Buckley about the legislation that we want to get through. And I'm really hopeful. I think we have an opportunity to be an example to the state of how we can come together and advance our specific needs to our region to address such a urgent crisis.
And then, of course, I have to ask, it was a big thing as far as, I guess, campaign. It was a big thing where Abbott called session after session after session. I think it was like five of them. It was a lot. But school vouchers. Abbott says, he's like, hey, I think we're going to get the job done. Because he advocated for people. He I'm not sure. He advocated for people who he would be kind of certain. For example, you over Shine because you said you would advocate for. You have kids, you're a mom. Do you think this is something that is actually going to pass this time without it being session after session? This is something that you're hoping will be.
No, without question. Absolutely. And Governor Abbott's constituents are my constituents. The reason that there's so much emphasis behind this issue is because the majority of Texans want it. We have been working towards school choice for over 3 decades in Texas. Other states have moved forward with it, and it's been a good thing. There's nothing wrong with creating an opportunity for families with students who aren't thriving in their current situation to have opportunities for an alternative that's better for them, which can vary from year to year. So this is not against public schools. The majority of families will always choose public schools, and we have a lot of work to do to make our schools better. I'm committed to making all education opportunities the best that they can be in Texas. And it doesn't have to be either or, we can do both. And so that's something that I'm very committed to, and I am encouraged by the relationships that I've been able to develop with our public schools here locally, also charter schools, private schools. But this is beyond even those opportunities. This is to help homeschoolers too, or people that want to do distance learning at home, or something in tandem in addition to even public schools. If there is a need that their schools don't currently offer or can't, then this will provide the opportunity for that child to access the education that's best for them. So I highly anticipate that the governor will call an emergency session, which means that we can get to work sooner. The way that the Texas Constitution currently is that we can't hear bills within the first portion of the session unless the governor calls an emergency session, or that this is an emergency item. And so I would anticipate that would happen. We have the votes. It's all in the details and how this rolls out. I would anticipate that this would be different from last session. In that last session, the public school funding and school choice in the form of ESAs. No one's talking about vouchers, by the way. ESAs are a lot more versatile than what people understand when you throw out the pejorative of vouchers. And so I believe it will differ this time from last time, whereas last time it was a combined effort. This time, I believe that there will be two separate bills that will probably, go alongside at the same time. But I don't think that they will be intertwined this time. So, but yeah, I'm hopeful, and like I said, we've got the votes and the support and the encouragement from our voters. It was overwhelming. There was a mandate to really focus on what's best for kids, and I think we can all come behind that. What is best for children, that they can access best education and have the most opportunities possible.
And we have about 2 minutes, so I'm gonna try to ask rapid fire questions. I know.
Okay.
But
Okay.
okay, first thing, is what's the top thing on your priority on your first legislative session that you want to really accomplish?
I want to be effective for my district. Truly. Maybe that's generic, but we have a large amount of veterans. So we've got to focus on our veterans here. We're so grateful for their sacrifice, and we need to take care of them. There are some local tax revenue that are related to some of the exemptions that we have promised them, and we will maintain that promise. So there's a need to make these communities whole in the ways that we're experience that are specific to our district, because we enjoy so many of our heroes, our national heroes here in House District 55. So that's probably the top of my local focus. But we're going to get support for our border issues, I believe, from this administration. I'm hoping that causes a lower expenditure from our state to fight those efforts to secure our border. So that's hopeful. We'll see how that turns out. Always property taxes, energy and infrastructure, water. And there's also a need to make sure that our food supply is safe, that we don't have hostile foreign governments owning our land. I think you'll see a focus on that. Yeah, your face is interesting with that, but
We have
there's
listened.
a conversation to be had with that, and that's real.
Okay, we have less than a minute, so I'm glad you talked about the border, because that was gonna be my next question. I was like, with the Trump and Cruz and all that, I was like, okay, it might pass. Last thing, real quick, less 15 seconds. How has this adjustment been on you and your family? I mean, you've been home for a while now. You're going to do this. Has it been hard?
They're supportive. I couldn't have done it without them, and they're really excited. All the sacrifice we're making is for a purpose that's greater than us, and it's so worth it.
All right, thank you so much, District 55 Representative-elect Hillary Hickland. Thank you so much for joining us here on 6 Plus. I have less than a minute, so I don't know how much time I have, but I truly do appreciate you. And yeah, have a good one. And
Thanks, Micah. You
fire
too.
this on TV and I'll text you. All right, stop recording.